Welcome to Armchair Athletes. I'm the short king, Reno.
And I am Ed.
How's it going, guys? This is our NBA preview, going from our worst to best team, starting from number 30, going all the way up to number 1. Right now, we're talking about the Minnesota Timberwolves. What did we do last year, Ed?
Well, last year, Reno, Timberwolves were not good. They went 19-45 in the regular season. And that was for 14th in the West.
I think my favorite part about last year with the Timberwolves, it has nothing to do, I guess it has somewhat to do with their court play, was there was a beef going with Karl Anthony Towns and Kendrick Perkins about, there's like a tweet that because Perkins said he's sleeping on the Timberwolves, and Timberwolves went on like a 5-6 game win streak in the beginning of the season, and they were looking good, and Cat was shooting threes over people all day. And then on that show, on the jump, they say, Perk, are you still sleeping on the Timberwolves? And he goes, I got the box fan on. I turned the AC down to 66. I got my weighted blanket. I got my body pillow. I'm not just sleeping. I'm snoozing. End up being one of the worst teams in the league.
I love Kendrick Perkins.
Yeah, he's great. There's nothing. The thing is, they have Ryan Sanders, Flip Sanders' son, as their head coach. He's young, so I mean, maybe this year he'll get things together. I think he's all right. I don't think he's bad. I just think this is a young team. He's a young coach. I think it's a good fit. I think it takes him some time. I think Ryan Sanders would be bad if he was in a contending situation, but he's not, thankfully.
And they're just all growing together.
Yeah, so Cat, I think, though, with the James Harden thing going on and the Anthony Davis thing the year before and the Paul George thing the year before that, I think Cat may be the next superstar next year. That request a trade, yeah. Well, now, here's the thing they got going for him is D'Lo. D'Lo's over there. That's one of his best buddies. So it's him, D'Lo, and D-Book. And D'Lo's over there, so maybe he can, allow him to stay.
Maybe. Let's see what else they did in the offseason, Reno.
So they added Ricky Rubio. In the beginning of Ricky Rubio's career, I was far from a fan. But now this past couple of years, every team he's been in, that team has been better in terms of the passing. So there's a theory in basketball that ball movement is contagious. If your point guard looks to get other people set up and not him, then that makes everyone else want to do the same because he essentially is running your offense. Ricky Rubio's personification of that almost to the extreme extent. One of the best passers in the game. That's fantastic. I like him. Not a great defender. He had a really, really solid shooting year last year. And if he can bring that shooting touch back to the Timberwolves, I like him a lot. Malik Beasley, he's a good guard. He's a good two guard. He played really, really well. He's a starting two guard in this league. But in the offseason, he had some legal issues go on where there's a lot of bad stuff happened. And then I also saw, I don't know if it's real, this might be a rumor, but I also saw a picture where he was on a date with Scottie Pippen's like ex-wife or something like that.
Yeah, I saw that too on Barstool or something like that.
Yeah, and this is not a good look, man. And then he had some legal issues, all that, and they gave him a fat contract. So I don't know what will happen. Juan Hernan-Gomez, he's all right. He's a big, that's offensively versatile, not a great defender or anything like that. Subtractions, they lost James Johnson, which I thought they can use this year because they don't really have anyone in the power forward spot. And they could probably use James Johnson to help their offense at least. So, and then obviously who they drafted at number 1.
Yeah, so they picked Anthony Edwards with the first overall pick. He's 6'5", 225 guard from Georgia. Some of his strengths, physical ability beyond the charts. Very physical player. He's an absolute nightmare to defend when running in transition or slashing. He was at his best going downhill and really would just run over some of the bigger or smaller guards and a lot of the wings that would try to defend him. he would just overpower them and get to the hole. Really good at getting to the rim. Like I said, drawing contact. He shot over 5 free throws a game, which isn't like a terrible amount, but I mean, it adds up. And he only shot 77%, which as a guard isn't amazing, but that's not really what he does the best. He can create off the dribble and really at some points showed that you could play really good defense, but his offense was just better. Few of his weaknesses, if you want to call them weaknesses, he needs to use his physical ability. And when back in college, he kind of would let the defenders out a little bit by taking kind of dumb shots when he really could power through and take a better shot. And he just needs to work on his consistency on the defensive end. So there were some games where he just would not show up on the defensive end, just wouldn't perform. But his physical gift, he's physically gifted. And if he uses that, he has the ability to be a great defender. It's just if he wants to make it happen or not. And then sometimes he can get on a cold streak and not really be able to shoot himself out of it.
So I think I'll finish what you're going to say.
I was going to say draft comps that were given were D Wade and Donovan Mitchell.
Yeah, I agree with both of those. Maybe not Donovan Mitchell so much. So whenever Anthony Edwards drives to the basket, he drives more like Leonard Fournette, not LaShawn McCoy. You know what I'm saying? Like he's more physicality and less wiggle.
Yeah.
D Wade can do either, but Donovan Mitchell, who's a fantastic athlete and can take this, nothing against him. He's a lot more about getting the finesse roll up and under, putting some spin on it. So those comps are, I think, accurate. What I love about Anthony Edwards and what I hate about Anthony Edwards, real quick, the Ant-Man is what they call him. Offensively is going to flourish with this team. I like him with Ricky Rubio. I like him with Cat, a big who can space the floor and take a lot of pressure. Anthony Edwards has the luxury of a number 1 pick that he doesn't have to be the focal point of the offense. Yeah. Look at LaMelo Ball in Charlotte. He's going to be the focal point of the offense, while Anthony Edwards can play off D'Lo, Ricky Rubio, his passing, obviously, and then Karl Anthony Towns. Now, here's the issue. Here's why we're talking about Ryan Saunders. They have one of the worst defenses. I think Washington and Atlanta, a couple other teams like that in New York, had worse defenses than them. They did not play defense. Karl Anthony Towns, who's a phenomenal talent offensively, is not a defensive big whatsoever. D'Lo can't stop a nosebleed. Ricky Rubio might end up being their best defensive guard, and that's a problem. I think offensively, if everyone's healthy, this is going to be a great team. Defense, I'm still super worried about defense. I don't see any wing defense, see any perimeter defense, and unless Cat can turn into Kevin Garnett, this team isn't going to be playing. Their offense better be real, like Denver Nuggets 6 years ago with Ty Lawson and Kenneth Faried type of offense, like unstoppable offense, but not that great of a defense.
Yeah, and really the only thing I could see if I mean, it is possible for him to have bulked up and gotten better on defense since they haven't played since like March. Because if I'm not mistaken, the Wolves didn't go to the bubble, right? Or did they? No, they didn't.
I'm not convinced they went to a single one of their games with how they play defense.
So, I mean, it's possible. With that being said, let's get into the rotations and talk a little bit about it.
So this is just kind of my rotation on the best starting team is D'Angelo Russell, Malik Beasley. You pay Malik Beasley that type of money, my guess is that you're going to be a starting shooting guard. He's getting paid almost $80 million within the next 4 years. You're going to be a starter. Josh Okogie is their best defensive player on the team, and he can guard 2 through 4. He's a really great defender, can't shoot. He's an all right finisher, not a fantastic passer, so he's very limited offensively. And then you have Juan Hernan-Gomez and Karl Anthony Towns, and that's not exactly a front court that you want other than Okogie. Now, I will say their guard rotation offensively is going to be really good, but that's it. Ricky Rubio, Anthony Edwards off the bench. I like all of them. I like the idea of playing Rubio, D'Angelo, and Edwards at the same time, do a 3-guard lineup. Ricky Rubio at the point, the other two on the wing, just because they don't have any wing depth. Anyways, Jake Layman, he's all right. He's more of a 10th player off the bench. So is Nas. Jarrett Culver is their top first-round pick from last year, and he's going to be the difference maker, in my opinion. They have some young talent on this team. I don't know if they have the right coach. I don't know if they have the wrong coach. I just don't know much about Ryan Saunders. I haven't seen anything of importance. But what we need to see with this team is two things. Number one, Carl Anthony Towns needs to become what he was supposed to become. D'Lo is what D'Lo is. He's going to give you 20 to 23 points a game. He's going to give you 5 to 7 assists. He's not going to play great defense, but he's going to shoot efficiently. He's an efficient jump shot. He's not a great finisher, but his shooting is really well. But D'Lo is going to be with D'Lo. I don't see another step for him. Karl-Anthony Towns, and then also their young talent in Malik Beasley, Josh Okogie, Jarrett Culver, and Anthony Edwards. That's what we'll see.
Yeah, I'm interested to see what Coach Saunders does with this young team, and if he is able to show us that he's a good coach. Because, like you said, we haven't really seen a lot from him. I'm also interested to see kind of how they're going to use Anthony Edwards this year. Because I agree, you can't spend all that money on a guard and not play him.
Mm-hmm.
But I could definitely see this team playing small a lot.
I agree. Okogie and Culver are going to be playing a lot of power forward minutes.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking as well. Yeah. Even running at the starter, take out Juan Hernangomez and throw in Anthony Edwards for some games. Mm-hmm. Like I could see that happening. I mean, it'd be a small lineup, but honestly, with the team you got, it doesn't hurt to just throw stuff out there and see what works, especially with this crazy season that we're probably going to end up having anyway. So I think it's pretty interesting what could be with this team. So
don't get me wrong, there's a lot of talent on this team too. There really is, especially from the guard position. And Cat, who like just 2 seasons ago was on all the GM's list of player that you want to build your franchise around. Yeah. Like he's still young. He's like 24 or 25, something like that. He's a kid. He's not old. He's only been in the league for like 4 or 5 years. And this guard rotation is talented. They have decent wings that are young. So it's still a fairly young team who what they need is, and this is what I wish they did. I wish they signed like a Tyson Chandler, or they signed some vocal leader that can go into their locker room, help them out. And you know what I wouldn't even be mad about? If they traded for Al Horford.
Yeah, that contract though.
Yeah, that contract. But Al Horford could teach Karl-Anthony Towns, hey, this is what your rotation is supposed to be on defense. Because Karl-Anthony Towns and Al Horford had the same build. Yeah. They're both a little short for the center position, about like 6'9", 6'10", and they're both stocky. But Al Horford, who's not super athletic, as just like Cat, is always in the right position at all times.
Yeah. Smart.
I would have signed some sort of veteran big and veteran guard to kind of get all these guys under their wings. That's just what I would have done. I don't see any leadership in this team. That's my biggest issue.
Yeah. I mean, your leader right now is Ricky Rubio, I guess.
Yeah, and I mean he's not bad. Also, Ricky Rubio should not be coming off the bench. And so if you have a passer like that, he is the best facilitator hands down on this team.
I mean, could you see a lineup with them running Ricky Rubio at the 1, D'Angelo Russell 2, Malik Beasley at the 3, maybe have Okogie on the bench?
I think you play Okogie at the 4. I think he's going to be playing a lot of power forward minutes, a lot of power. So is Jarrett.
Yeah, I could see that lineup because I agree. I think you need to have Rubio on the floor because
you got a lot.
He's that playmaker.
Yeah, you got a lot of scorers on this team. And here's the thing. You have one defender on this team.
Yeah.
Nas Reed, he's another young guy who's just an athletic big. He's about 6'9", but he can jump over. He reminds me of Kenneth Faried with his energy. but doesn't have like Kenneth Faried's timing on rebounds so much. He's another one that may turn into something, but we'll see. We'll definitely see.
All right. So, Reno, let's kind of get your vibe for this team.
My vibe is, number one, this team is going to be the worst defensive team behind probably it's just off the top of my head, the Hornets and the Knicks. That's it. Number two, I think Malik Beasley at the end of this year, I think his contract is going to be labeled as the worst contract that was signed, only because I do not question his talent or his skill. He's a very skillful guard. He can shoot. He can drive finish. He's got the ball on a rope, and he's a compatible guard with D'Lo. We've seen that. But I think all the legal issues is going to cycle in through his head like a Nick Anderson with Orlando Magic type of situation, where he's in his head too much and his game doesn't perform like it's supposed to. And that he's owed a lot of money for the next few years, and it's going to be a really bad contract. I don't like that contract at all. And they gave him that contract after everything was in the air. So I don't understand that either. Cat, I don't see a big step from Cat. I don't see a big step from D'Lo. I think this team might win like 6-7 more games, but that's about it.
All right. So we're going to move on to the 24-second shot clock. So I think the Wolves, I think they'll be decent, but I don't think they're going to be anything great. Again, I agree with you on the offensive take. I think they're going to be really good on the offensive end. A lot of scores, not a lot of defense. I see them winning 30 games, maybe more, maybe a little bit more, not much than that.
I agree. I think they're going to be the Wizards of last year. Last year, the Wizards were one of the best offensive teams, but their defense was so bad they lost games because of it. And they performed very bad. And then you can get tired if your offense is doing so well, but you can't defend. It's tiresome. So, and very detrimental to your spirit. So yeah. I don't see this team performing that well. So.
Well, all right. That was our take on the Minnesota Timberwolves. We hope you enjoyed it. We have them as the number 21 team in the NBA this year. Hope you enjoyed it. Reno, you got anything else to say?
No. Thank you guys for watching. Like and subscribe. Again, we are the Armchair Athletes. I'm Reno.
I'm Ed.
And we'll be seeing you guys next time. Peace out.
Hope you guys enjoy. Peace.